Hi, it's Andy, and today I'm bringing you my January wrap-up. January has been a month, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a stressful month, as you can see from the stress acne that's popping up, and you can also see where my glasses have been sitting, so we're doing great so far. We're a hot mess, and we're just working with it. Just gonna say right now, if you don't like hearing about death of a family member, just skip forward. I will put my hand up and I'll put it down when I stop talking. Yeah, I've told my friends, but I don't think I've posted anything on any social media. Early January, my gran had a stroke and ended up passing away from the complications of the stroke. It's not a sudden or like an unexpected thing. She had a stroke in 2010 and has deteriorated since then, having like many strokes and stuff like that. It's been we've kind of been waiting on the when, not the if. So yeah, going through all that, etc., has been really stressful. Obviously, even though we were kind of half expecting it, it's still horrible. But yeah, it's just made for a really stressful month. Okay. Yeah, so that it's been a stressful month. And ironically, I think that has actually helped my reading because I had a week off work. Work gave me a week off for compassionate leave. And can I just say, my work gave me a week off, paid leave, without taking it off my holidays. Like, my workplace is literally the best. Anyway, and I think that actually helped my reading because all I could do was sit in, like, when we're just in the waiting period, so like all I was doing was reading. Like, I was just focusing on reading. So I got through 17 reads. So first I'm going to go over my DNF, just because I find it easier to go over the sort of more negative side of things first, and then go into the books I actually read. So the first thing I DNF'd, unfortunately, was Small Island by Andrea Levy. I'm not going to lie, I did expect to DNF this one, partially because it's such a chunker, even though I don't know why. Like, I've got so many chunky books that I've read and I loved, and yet I just had a feeling about this one. But I went into it thinking, you know what, I've done this with other books where I've thought, I'm not going to like that, and then I've loved it. Unfortunately, this one just wasn't for me. The writing style I just did not mesh with, and the characters I just did not like. And I can't tell if it was because they were meant to be unlikable or if I just didn't like them. And it was too much of a... Like, I was just forcing myself to read it, and again, like, I had to reread the same page over and over because the writing style just was not getting into my brain at all. So I ended up DNFing this. I'm sure it is a fantastic book. It is an award winner, but again, me and award-winning books don't tend to go very well. If it wins like a prestigious award, then I tend to be too dumb for it, and I think that's what's happened here. Then I DNF'd Free Floating. Again, this is one that I'm not surprised I DNF'd. I have absolutely... So I've got my Kindle TBR in here, and I'm picking out random books to read because I literally went onto like Stuff Your Kindle days and was just downloading stuff from authors to support them for no other reason than to give them numbers. So I have so many Kindle books that I'm not even sure I'm gonna like. Like, if I'd done that by buying books, I would be so irresponsible financially. But luckily they are Kindle books, and they were Stuff Your Kindle books, so they didn't cost anything. I just need to get them off of my mental load. So yeah, I DNF'd this. Again, the writing just wasn't for me. I didn't like the characters. I didn't find them... It was starting to remind me of The Hating Game, and I really disliked The Hating Game. I really disliked the characters, and it was given The Hating Game vibes. Okay, so for the books I actually read in the month of January, and that was 17 books. So the first thing I read was At That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf, and I read this first because I wanted to read something that was going to be great first, and these books are fantastic. Sorry if you can hear Hamish digging in the background, he's making himself comfy. But yeah, this book is so funny. This is the second in this series, and I am eating these up. They're very short, they're very funny, they're quick, they're just amazing. This follows the best friend of the main character from the first one and one of the friends of the male main character. Well, kind of they meet him in the first book basically, and they come back to the village that they live in, and yeah, she accidentally throws a love potion at him and is like, oh crap, and has to kind of navigate that, while at the same time he is a werewolf, has a mate bond, like an imprint mate bond, and knows when he looks at his mate who she is, and he imprints on her, and now he's got to persuade her that it's not the love potion, and she thinks it's the love potion, so she's holding him off like until it wears off. So it is genuinely absolutely hilarious, and I love this. I love the characters. I'm so excited to read the next one. Okay, next up I'm just going to do the series. I didn't read this all at once. I did do it between other books, but I just want to talk about the series as a whole. So that is, oh my goodness, Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Onyx Storm. So Onyx Storm came out this month, so I wanted to reread Fourth Wing and Iron Flame to read Onyx Storm. I'm going to put these down. Okay, so Fourth Wing. I went back and I re-tabbed, I tabbed more now that I've read and I know stuff. Like, so I've been tabbing stuff that I find suspicious. I've been underlining things. I had such a good time at rereading this and seeing all the like things that happened and seeing the foreshadowing that happened. Like, I really, really love this. So this follows Violet, who is due to go to the scribe quadrant of this war college. And instead of going to the scribe quadrant, her mother decides, because her mother is a general of the Dragon Riders, that she's actually going to go to the Dragon Riding School. Now, the problem with this is Violet has EDS. It's not called EDS in this, but it is EDS. The author also has EDS, the type of EDS I have. And that means that her joints dislocate very easily. She's seen generally as being frail and breakable, and she thinks, yep, this is going to kill me. And that's the thing, the Riders Quadrant is brutal. Like, other cadets can kill you, the dragons can kill you, you can fall off the parapet or just get into the college, you can fall off the gauntlet, there's so many things that can kill you. And then you have to make it a threshing where the dragon chooses you. And if you're not chosen, you repeat. If the dragon doesn't like you, they may kill you. Like, this is a brutal, brutal world. And Violet's like, ha, fantastic, this is going to kill me. And then she's like, do you know what? No. Because Violet has this inner fortitude. Violet has this strength that I think, a resilience that we all kind of get when you have like a disability or chronic pain. And it's unfortunately something you need to build up because of the way the world treats you. There's a lot of people that don't like this because they say it's like disabled exceptionalism, or it's like ableist in the way that Violet is like, I can do this, like, despite my disability. And to me, I don't think that at all. Like, I think that is total rubbish. It is a situation, like, this is an exceptional situation where it is life or death. Like, can I do the things that Violet was doing in this? No. Would I absolutely do it if the other option was death? Absolutely. Like, people also don't understand how disability is on a spectrum. So there are things in this that Violet can do that I cannot do, and things that I can do that Violet can't do. Like, it is such a varied, like, disability, and you have good days and bad days, and she, like, takes precautions, like, wrapping her body. They have menders who can literally heal with a touch. She, you know, there's a line in here that I thought was incredible, where someone says, like, she lives in pain. Like, that is where she lives. Violet deals with more pain before lunch than you do in an entire week. Like, you get used to it in a way that you shouldn't have to get used to it, but you do, you get used to it. And people underestimate Violet, and people underestimate people with disabilities like mine, because they see us as frail or less than. And in fact, we are so strong. Like, we have this inner fortitude that you have to have, because living with the pain that we live in every day would absolutely grind you down. Like, it does, it grinds you down, and you just have to find a way to live through it. That's it. You just have to live through it. You don't need to be this incredible, like, top of the friggin' pedestal person, but you still need to live through it. And that, to me, is what Violet is doing. She has decided she will live come hell or high water. But yeah, the best thing about this, honestly, for me, is the dragons. I love the dragons in this. They are able to communicate, like, talk, and they are sassy and funny and incredible. Fourth Wing is like I say, the first in the series. So we follow Violet in her first year and finding out about the politics of the world that she doesn't really know about. Iron Flame, we kind of get the consequences of the first one. Again, I'm not going to like spoil the whole series, but we get a lot of consequence from the first book and kind of dealing with that and dealing with the ending of the first one. Just trying to figure out how to deal with that information, and I can't even say anything. But Iron Flame is very much like a middle book. It gives you a lot of information, and for some people that makes it really slow, because the first one's really fast paced and like action packed. This one not so much. This is very much like a slow meandering story. And then the new one, Onyx Storm. Again, I've tabbed this. This one has much less tabs than the others because, well, it's like 100 pages shorter than this one. But like I say, I went back over this and picked up on things that I didn't pick up on the first time, which is why I love rereading books. I don't understand people who don't like rereading books, because you learn something. There are some books that maybe not, like maybe they're not rereadable. I get that. But like for certain things, like the way you pick up on things you didn't pick up on before, maybe I'm just dumb and I need rereads to do it. Anyway, so Onyx Storm is our third book. Again, following on from the second one, consequences of the end of that. This is a story that just continues to push, continues to go. And in this one, it expands the world. It actually reminds me, if you've read this, and you've read the whole Narnia series, you might understand what I mean when I say this reminds me of The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. This follows our squad and our characters that we love as they navigate, again, the consequences of the one before. I'm not going to say anything, but she is still, like, she's in her second year at Basgiath. In this one, and that's one thing I will say about Fourth Wing, it is a point of contention. So what Rebecca Yarros did was she used Scottish Gaelic to name the War College of Basgiath. Is a mashup of 2 words or 3 words in Gaelic. The names of the dragons are all Gaelic words. Outram is my favourite. It means light, but light as in lightweight, not light coloured. And it just fits his personality so well. So all of the dragon names are Scottish Gaelic. However, Rebecca Yarros didn't have any respect for Scottish Gaelic when she did this, and has since been called out and apologised, etc. But the audiobooks completely trash the names. There are some TikTokers, if you go on TikTok and type in Fourth Wing Gaelic Scottish names, something like, or Gaelic dragon names, something like that, there are users on there who are Scottish Gaelic speakers, and they have done a guide to how to pronounce the names. Outram is the one that I always got right, because it's A-O, so it's like Aoife in Irish. Has that A, but it makes a different sound. So Outram is the one I got. Funnily enough, Kath is the one that actually just sounds like Kath. Anyway, yeah, so that is the thing about these books that did get on my nerves, but Rebecca has apologised and said she will do better, so again, we shall see how that goes, but the audiobooks are already wrecked. Next, I am going to clump these together again, even though I read them at different times of the month. I read Mixed Signals and Business Casual by B.K. Borison. These are books 3 and 4 in the Love Like Farms series. There's 4 books. I was going to say quadrology, but that's not what I meant at all. These follow characters that we've met in the first 2. I'm not going to spoil it again, but I really enjoyed these. Mixed Signals, I think, was maybe my favourite. This is one of those books where he has been totally in love with her for ages, and she's the only one that can't see it. And then it's sort of, they decide to fake date, but it very quickly becomes not so fake dating. And with these 2, it is 2 characters who are severely insecure and insecure in very different ways. But again, they start to see each other just for like a casual thing, and realise that they want things to be not so casual. I really enjoyed this. This series just continues to get better. Love Like Farms for me was not the best, but the In the Weeds and Mixed Signals and Business Casual are just so good. I absolutely love these. This last one made me cry. This one we've got characters who have anxiety and insecurities. I can't remember what else, like family dynamics and stuff like that as well, but Business Casual, sorry, our main character, our female main character, has chronic migraines, and I have chronic migraines in the way I see it, like the way I saw myself in this character. I absolutely loved it. The way that so many different people treated her in different ways. it just, yeah, it really hit close to home, and I think Beaky Borsum's done a fantastic job on these books. I really, really recommend them. Next, I read The Cuban Era by Chanel Clayton. This is the last book in this series, the Cuba Saga, and this is like so I kind of figured out where it slots in to the other books because they're all kind of connected, but this is about a cruise that used to go from, I think it was Florida to Cuba. And we have many different characters on here. We have somebody that's smuggling, somebody that's out for revenge, somebody that has a secret and we don't know about. It's so interesting the way it ties together. I did not see it coming. Maybe other people would, but I was just taking it at face value. And I absolutely love this. So this is like, it's not a mystery, but like there's a lot of mysterious things going on. You don't know what's happening. They're like revealing bit by bit by bit. And they're on a cruise, they're on a ship. Like they're stuck. And one of them, somebody is trying to kill her and she doesn't know who it is and she doesn't know why. It was so, so good. Like the way the connections were made and the way it all unravelled. I genuinely was like, nah, I'm not sure if I'm going to like this as much as the others. I loved this. The characters were great, the story great, the whole situation. And again, this follows a real cruise that used to happen between Cuba and Florida. Chanel Clayton honestly just does the best historical fictions. And then I had to read a whole trilogy because I got myself in a little bit of a situation. So I got the arc for Once Smitten, Twice Shy. However, that is book 3 in a trilogy of companion series. So to read that, I read Two Wrongs Make a Right and Better Hate Than Never. Now these 3 books follow 3 sisters. So we have Bea in the first one, Kate in the second one, and Juliet in the third one. Juliet and Bea are twins. So in the first one, we have Juliet, who is getting engaged to this guy, and Bea is actually the main character, but it all starts at Juliet's engagement party. And she gets introduced to the guy's best friend, and they're trying to like, Juliet and that are trying to hook them up, and they're just like, they instantly don't like each other. Now Bea is autistic, and our male main character's name I cannot remember for the life of me because I don't do character names very well. Bea is autistic and he has severe social anxiety, so they don't get off to the best start because he is immediately comes across quite rude, and she doesn't quite understand the nuances of certain things that he is trying to explain or trying to say. They just clash straight off, like they just don't get along. But then when they realise that their friends are trying to set them up, they decide, and like trying to meddle, they decide, or Bea decides to get back at them. They will fake date and then break up in a spectacular sort of massive breakup to make their friends feel bad. But obviously fake dating goes as fake dating goes, and things happen. The second book, Better Hate Than Never, is about Kate, their little sister, who has a wanderlust. She is a photojournalist and she travels all over the world doing photojournalism. Unfortunately, in Scotland, she fell off a mountain and injured herself pretty badly, and so has come back to sort of finish off her recovery and kind of decide what she's doing next, because she now has no money, no jobs lined up, and has no idea what she wants to do with her life. In comes Christopher, who is one of the friends of the girls who we meet in the last one as well. Those two hate each other for unknown reasons. They just absolutely hate each other. Even they are not entirely sure why they hate each other. But they kind of get thrown together so much in this book that they're kind of forced to communicate and realise that they don't actually hate each other. And yeah, I really love them. Like, it's true, like, they really, really hate each other. Like, they really dislike each other. Even the family, like, please, for the sake of peace, will you just get on? Will you just be civil to each other? Like, they can't be in a room together without having a fight. And Chris decides that he's spoken to by the family, and they're like, look, we love you like a son, but can you please just get on with Kate for the sake of, like, us? And so he decides he's going to try and be nicer, and that confuses Kate, and that's where that sort of, it's very, like, I can't remember, they're all based on like Shakespeare's, but I just, it was so good. Third one, Once Smitten, Twice Shy, follows Juliet, so obviously things go wrong for the past relationship and it really scars Juliet. But she meets someone when she's in Scotland, because she goes to Scotland for a little while over, I think it's over Kate's book, I can't remember, and meets this guy called Will, and then she comes home and she's looking at her window, she's running into the greenhouse, her mum's greenhouse, to get away from the rain, and who is there but Will, who's staying next door at Christopher's house, because Will is friends with Christopher, and they had never met before, but it seemed like fate. But they have this whole thing where she's like, oh my god, are you stalking me? And he's like, why would I be stalking you? That's weird. Will, again, is autistic. Kate has ADHD in the second book. Will is autistic, and Juliet has come back from Scotland and has been diagnosed with mixed connective tissue disorder, which is very similar to EDS, but it's autoimmune, whereas EDS is not autoimmune. So she's dealing with a lot of chronic pain, a lot of people mollycoddling her in a way that she doesn't like. Will has autism and is struggling with relationships and just people, and he really wants to find a wife to help him on his family farm, because he sees like it's a family farm, so if he's taken over it, it needs to be with a wife. And there's a whole, like, I love these two together. They're so funny. Like, she's trying to teach him how to date, and I love that trope as well, like where one of them is trying to teach them how to date and they end up going on dates and then they end up falling for each other, and I absolutely love that trope so much. So yeah, this series, again, it's Chloe Elise. I absolutely love Chloe Elise, and the rep and everything. I'm sure I'm missing other things, like Christopher has mental health issues as well. There's a lot with all the characters, and it's just done so well. Next, I read Merry in Moonville, which is the Christmas novella that to go along with Love Letters and Thirst Tonics and Cattails and Cauldrons and Cattails, that's the one, by Hayley Blackwood. I love this. This was so cool. This is so cute. It was just so funny. We get to find out more about the dragons. And yeah, it's just a fun sort of Christmassy novella, but it does add a lot to the series, so you do need to read it. And then I cracked and I read the Study Chronicles, even though I didn't need to read it until much later on. This is short stories with the Chronicles of Ixia, so it's Tales of Ixia and Sitia. So it's short stories that take place before, during and after the series. This is the last sort of book in the series, even though we've got 3 more because they go back to the first series again, if that makes sense. I love this. This was amazing. Full thoughts will be on the live show. Next up is The Truth According to Ember by Danica Nava. This book was so much better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought it was going to be good, but I love this. This is like a rom-com, like version on slapstick. It is so funny. So Ember has got herself in a position where she is struggling to find a job, and she thinks it's because she is native Ember, and so she puts out a CV or a resume as White Ember. White Ember, who also is a qualified accountant, even though she's not quite qualified yet. And so she gets this job, and the first person she meets is, I can't remember his name. Again, I'm terrible with names. Danawoa is another native who works at this farm. He's the IT guy. Everybody calls him Dan because obviously he's got a native name and everybody can't pronounce it. I've probably buckled it, to be perfectly honest. And yeah, Dan is aware that Ember is native, but nobody else is. Not that sounds like he's going to use it against her. He doesn't. That's not where this is going. But Ember is sort of shuffling between trying not to be found out and trying to do this job well, and trying to navigate her family situation as well, because her gran is older, and her brother is just being let out of jail, and they're in a situation where it's not the best. She doesn't really believe in her brother anymore. She's really disappointed. She's trying to keep her gran afloat and herself afloat, and her brother, like, it's a whole thing. But then she's given the job of the assistant to the CEO of the company, and things get a little bit hairy. I love this book so much. Like I said, it was very funny. The characters in this, amazing. And I really highly recommend this. Then I read My Arc of To You at the Altar. This is the 3rd book in the Homes and Teas series. This book was amazing. This follows, as you can imagine, a wedding, or the preparation up to a wedding. I don't want to say anything else about this book, but this book is a sapphic, cosy romance about an ex-Queen's Guard and the Mage of Ages, and it's absolutely, like, one of them is chaos incarnate and the other one's so serious, and it's so funny. I love this. I cannot recommend it enough. Basically, in the first one, they want to run away together and open a tea and bookshop, and so that is what they do. And the books, as I say, follow on from the consequences of that and just broaden the world in such amazing ways. Then I read Spiral by Balcabra. This is one of my pre-orders. This follows 2 characters, one of whom we meet in the previous book, who is on the Toronto Thunder, I think they're called, with the main character from the first book, and she is a ballerina who is in a position where she needs to up her engagement to try and get a job, because all the jobs are going to influencers, basically, like ballerina influencers, and they strike up a deal because she needs help with that and he needs help with something else. Like, I think his image, that was it, because he's seen as like a playboy, even though he's not a playboy. And so they make this deal, and they obviously end up falling in love, because it's a romance. Again, there's so much more going on in this book as well. She looks after her little brother after her parents left, and her uncle is trying to support her, but she just doesn't want the help. She wants to do it all herself. It's just, and he's dealing a lot with like the consequences of his family life and things. It's honestly so good. And then, because I had run out of books to read on my TBR, like I literally finished my TBR, I decided to pick up In Your Dreams at Holden Roads. This is the third in the Queen's Cove series. This follows, main characters' names. I can't even remember. Yep, can't remember. Our female main character who moves back because her aunt has recently died and she leaves her inn. But she also leaves it to her and this guy, Holden Rhodes, who is one of the Rhodes brothers. But these two don't get on. They met one summer 15 years ago and they just did not get on at all. And so they kind of hate each other, or they think they hate each other. Again, it's one of those situations where they don't actually hate each other, but they do hate each other. And they have to sort of deal with the fact that they have this inn between them. And yeah. I love this again. It's so funny. It kind of is a mashup between like, there's other books, but it reminded me of The Wake Up Call because of the whole hotel aspect of it. And they renovate the hotel and like things happen, and it's such a good story. And finally, my final book of the month was Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young. I wasn't sure I was going to get this in time, but I did. It came early and I managed to finish it. It's the last book I read in January and I loved it. I cried so much reading this book. This follows Caleb and Sarah, who we meet in the first book, Out on a Limb, and they are the it couple. They have been together since they were like 16. They got married at 19 and they have been, you know, the perfect couple ever since. But not really, because Sarah is struggling with losing her mum when she was very young, you know, just after they got married, and sort of being dependent on Caleb for her entire life and just feeling like she has done nothing with her life and that she is losing herself. And so there's an incident that's kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back, and they end up through means deciding to go on this couples retreat thing that's meant to help you reconnect with your partner. 7 days in the woods, no communication with the outside world, doing exercises and things like that to sort of it's like group therapy but couples therapy at the same time. It sounds amazing. There's couples there that go every single year just to like reconnect every single year, and this does Sarah and Caleb the world of good. And honestly, the end of this book did not see coming and I cried so much. There we go, those are the books I read in the month of January. I had so much fun this month. I am really embracing reading what I want to read at DNF and what I don't. And yeah, let's hope that continues. Anyway, I better go because I'm meant to be on sprints and we start in a minute. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to leave me an emoji to let me know you were here, leave me some kind of wooded emoji, trees, animals, whatever you think, mushrooms. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye!